Today we're going to see whether the original X100 actually looks like film. In this corner is the original Fuji X100, a 15-year-old camera that was built before the term X-Trans had even entered the vocabulary of Fuji marketers. Instead, it uses a CMOS sensor with thick AA filter that blends light between photosites for a smooth, painterly look. Some have called it organic, others have said it looks filmic, but is that going too far? In this corner, we have a roll of rebranded Kodak Gold. That's right, Fuji doesn't make much film these days, and most of what's being branded as Fuji is really warm Kodak stock. We'll be shooting it with my Nikon F801s with 35-70 3.3 to 4.5 lens. Both were made around 1990, a really good period for Nikon cameras. To keep this test honest, we're shooting the Fuji in two different ways. First, we'll be shooting it in standard mode, standard film stock known as Provia, standard saturation, color and shadows. Next, I'm going to apply my own custom Kodak Gold film recipe to the Fuji to get the looks of the two cameras closer. I'll lay out that exact recipe for you later in the video if you're currently shooting with an X100. And I'll have a complete test document that includes settings used in an A/B comparison of all photos in today's test. More details on that later in the video. We'll also be shooting both cameras in aperture priority mode with ISO set to 200 to match the film speed, and both lenses at 35mm at f/5.6. This is around where both lenses perform at their best. Now, I can't preview the exposure of the Nikon or even see how the images turn out until I get them back from the lab, so I'm going to have to trust that the late 1980s metering system gets it right. Now, this is not a lens test or a color science test. We're looking for 6 key factors that really define film. Blooming on highlights, halation, which looks like red or orange blooming around highlights, tone transitions, noise quality, highlight roll-off, and crosstalk rather than sharply defined edges. Film is known for its tactile looking grains, smooth tonal transitions, blooming on highlights, and halation, which provides the classic organic look. While both cameras may show some different hues in their images and lens sharpness, these factors really define the look of film. And the Fuji cultists have said that the FinePix X100, the first version of the series, nails at least 3 of these factors: smooth tonal transitions, blooming highlights, and a smooth monochromatic grain pattern over its digital images that look remarkably like film grain. Let's see how well those claims match up to reality. Today we're walking Huagok, which is a really typical residential neighborhood in Seoul. You have all these weathered red brick mid-rises crammed together, connected by a mess of overhead wires. Ironically, to capture this environment well, you really need a camera that softens the finer details and blends colors seamlessly, something that older cameras with CCD sensors excel at. While the X100 has a CMOS sensor, Fuji engineers designed it to produce a softer, painterly look similar to the rendering of a 1990s film camera. The lens is sharp in the center with edge softness like a vintage lens. The camera is only 12 megapixels, which tends to soften the image over today's 40 megapixel sensors that are clinically sharp but spiritually dead. And then you have a unique micro lens design as part of the sensor that blends light near the edges of the sensor, producing some great color tone and highlight transitions. This look mirrors how we actually see the world and makes for some fantastic organic rendering. At least that's the claim. To make this test definitive, I intentionally avoided curated studio setups or epic landscapes. We're shooting everyday environments in Huagok because a consumer film stock like Kodak Gold was designed to capture ordinary life. If the X100 generally renders like film, it shouldn't need a masterpiece to prove it. It should show its character in how it handles the harsh highlights, messy texturing, and chaotic lines of a regular residential street. None of the Fuji photos are edited. They're straight out of camera JPEGs in standard mode or after applying my custom Kodak Gold preset. Okay, let's get to it. Now on the Nikon, all I have to do is slide the cartridge in, then slide the film over to the red line. It's dead easy, at least when you're not trying to record it. I'm going to show you the shots in pairs without identifying the camera. Try to guess which is which, then we'll walk through the photos together at the end and see how many you got right. This place used to be a kindergarten. Koreans, they ain't having as many kids as they once did, you may have heard. And this is the result. Apparently once a really good school, one of those kindergartens geared towards academic excellence. Now it's locked behind a white gate with a picture of a cat standing guard. Okay, now for that Kodak Gold recipe. That film stock is very warm and tends to have medium contrast, though that partly depends on the light you're shooting in. In your menu, go down to Film Simulations and change that to Astia. That provides the necessary baseline for skin tone roll-off and softer highlight gradations. Next, set the dynamic range to either 200 or 400. This will force the camera to underexpose to protect highlights. Now, since I'm comparing the X100 film, I encountered a pretty big limitation. When you shoot at ISO 200 on the Fuji, it locks the dynamic range at DR100, so DR200 and DR400 are not available and the camera shoots hot. This is one of the challenges you face when trying to match a particular film stock, but I thought it would be interesting to see how the Kodak Gold recipe would compare when matching the film speed. Next, set your white balance shift to +2 red and -3 blue. This will force the camera out of its native cool rendering and provide that warm look that Kodak Gold is known for. Now change highlight tone to medium soft. This will help keep highlights from clipping. Change shadow tone to medium hard. Consumer film stocks drop off quickly into deep shadows. This will help mimic that slight black crush. Next, I changed my color to high to get some saturated reds and warm greens, but if you think that's too much, then leave the color on medium. Lastly, if you want to match the look of a softer vintage lens, it's important to reduce the sharpness to soft to remove any digital sharpening. And that's what I did here to help match the AFD lens I'm shooting on. With that recipe in place, it's time to make some Kodak moments. And then I came across the bike, a classic honeypot trap for photographers. So, of course, I had to snap a picture. For science, I mean. And who doesn't love a stubby broom lit up by golden rays? I swear, I've never seen people as curious as when I walk down the street with a camera. If I set up to take a shot or something, I get all sorts of looks and people walking up and staring at me and asking me what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I've got no time to talk to you, lady. This is science. I like to think that they recognize they're in the presence of photography greatness. You know, rather than getting ready to call the cops, I tend to move on pretty quickly. The nighttime shoot. I love shooting at night. The colorful lights from the signs and the deep shadows make for some great looking shots, especially when you catch someone walking by and their face lights up in different colors. For this, I'm putting the Fuji back in standard mode, and since we're shooting at ISO 200 with longer shutter times, I'm going to save you the tripod setup and just show you the shots. Okay, time for the big reveal. You should have gotten all the first set right because the colors look so different, with the X100 being a lot cooler. Things get closer after applying my Kodak Gold preset, and a couple of the night shots seem pretty tricky. Now, what about the test results? If you want the full test document, including camera settings and side-by-side photos, look for the link in the show notes. First, let's look at noise. During the day, the Fuji files are exceptionally clean, showing little to no noise whatsoever. That relationship holds late at night with the Kodak Gold filling showing a significant amount of grain, while the X100 is pretty clean. Both were shot at ISO 200, yet the images were very different. Now, this is outside the test, but I recently shot the same corner store at night with the Fuji FinePix X100 set to ISO 3200. When you look at the noise the Fuji produces in this scenario, it does look remarkably like film grain. There are no jarring color speckles that plagued other cameras in the 2000s. Instead, you see a mix of pleasing luminance noise and colors that are very close to the general background color. Now, the X100 is known to bloom on highlights, and this shot absolutely confirms that. The blooming is nearly as pronounced as the blooming on the film image here. On the other hand, it's much less pronounced in this image here. While the film stock seems to bloom more in both situations, this could be due to the lens. I couldn't find any halation on any images, however. Remember, halation is the product of light bouncing off the backplate and re-entering the chemical layer on film. But some say the Fuji produces what looks like halation due to a weak IR filter. If you want to do your own test, you may see it if you snap a photo on a really bright subject. Now, what about tonal transitions? And for this, I want to come back to the flower shots. These shots were taken seconds apart in the exact same light. Now, look at the brown bucket. While the color and metering is a bit different, you can see that both shots have a very smooth shadow transition. If we look at the white bucket near the bottom of the image, the X100 seems to be doing an even better job producing a very smooth transition into shadow. But the film is doing something that the processor isn't, shifting significantly in saturation. The bright portion of the brown bucket is more desaturated relative to its dark portion on the film than it is on the digital image. And highlight roll-off is not nearly the same either. These are the best shots I have for comparing highlight roll-off. While the film image shows a brighter image despite identical settings, you can clearly see the difference in how the two handle the highlight roll-off. The film image is awash with light, but you can still see detail. When we look at the right side, we see a portion that's gone pure white, but the shift from very bright to pure white is gradual and smooth. On the Fuji file, the shift is abrupt as the photosites reach their limit. Now for crosstalk. Film tends to blur the edges between elements as light passes through the color layers during exposure. The result is a softer image that looks more organic. Digital sensors, on the other hand, often produce a sharp contrast line between elements. But the X100 has a thick anti-aliasing filter which diffuses light before it gets to the photosites. The question is whether this is enough to soften the edges of elements in the photo so they look more like film. For this, let's look at the cross I captured on the white brick wall. When you zoom into pixel level, you can see that the red color of the cross on both images leaks into the yellow background. While it happens slightly more on the film image, this could be the product of a softer lens. So at the end of the day, is the original X100 rendering film-like? I would call it film adjacent. It's about halfway there. Remember, this was not a lens or image color test. The Nikkor lens is noticeably softer, but other vintage lenses can match the X100 sharp f2 lens better. So where do the two look the same? Well, the X100 does have highlight bloom, and its digital noise does look a lot like film grain at night at higher ISOs. But at low ISOs, the files are exceptionally clean, with nearly no noise whatsoever. And as we saw, film grain does not disappear as the film speed picks up. Looking at edges, there is some crosstalk, but it is more mild on the X100 than it is on a film stock like Kodak Gold or Fujifilm 200. One of the most significant characteristics of film is highlight roll-off. Here, the X100 just can't match film. Transitions are more abrupt without that nice, gentle film roll-off. Similarly, while tonal transitions are a great match in terms of luminance, film tends to change more in saturation levels. So what do the X100 files look like? They look most like files from a digital camera produced in about 2010. They do look great though, and the areas where the X100 does show film traits does make for a more appealing organic rendering. It's a smooth look that's much less clinical than modern cameras, and that look is really appealing in the age of hyper-detailed AI processing. That's why I'm using this exact camera for photography projects around Korea, such as the one capturing a traditional 600-year-old school coming up. The softer look helps capture how we actually see the world, and both the pastel colors and spherical aberration, that whitewash at f2, can give images a dreamy look. If you want to see some of my upcoming projects, hit the subscribe button. That's it. Let me know what you think, because constructive comments and feedback are always welcome.